Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Manifestation Theory podcast. And it is going to be really interesting topic today. And also, who is my sensei, and as well as he is the sensei for almost like 1,400 and people in Malaysia. He has trained them to be the train the trainer program, and he is none other than Mr. Ahmad Fauzan bin Othman. And in social media, they used to call him as Idea Sensei for his background in Japanese education and founding the highly sort of after training and providing the company, right? So he has formed a company called Access Ideas and Bahar. It has got various awards and recognition. Mr. Fauzan has already developed almost like 132 training courses for the various TPs he was associated with, right? Some of his courses was very impactful, and as well as Mr. Fauzan has published almost 27 books up to date, right? So we are so happy to welcome Mr. Fauzan, who dedicated himself to be the trainer, and every day he is creating new trainers. And me and Mangala, as well as trained by Mr. Fauzan, if you guys notice our workshop structure and things which we do, it's all coming from his training actually. And thank you, Mr. Fauzan, and welcome to our Manifestation Theory podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dilip, for having me today here. It's been an honor because watching your journey from afar, from the moment you came for the trainer course, about a few years back, I think almost
2021.
4 years ago. I think, and where you have come to at this point, very proud of you.
Yes, thank you so much. And it was really a great journey actually so far. And there's a lot of learnings I have taken away. I mean, like usually the trainer, it's more of like they are teaching how to be the training only. But then in your case scenario, it was totally a different experience for me because you had shared a lot of real life experiences, and also you have shared. Whenever I come to you and ask for the tips, you tend to give a very wise advice actually, right? So that was really helpful actually for me.
My pleasure.
Grow in myself, right? So basically, there was this interesting, inspiring story. I wanted to start with the inspiring story.
Okay.
So where many people wanted to manifest in their life, and then the important obstacle they will face is the first time of rejection, right? So, and they will tend to give up in their journey of manifestation because they don't want to progress further because of that one rejection. I mean, like either it could be in your career or it could be in your relationship. Because of that one rejection, they tend to postpone the success actually. So they tend to or divert them or distract them into another area of life, right?
Understand.
So I heard your story. So where your first training program for the trainer to get an accreditation, you had told me that you have started with them coming up with an innovation of magic, right?
Yeah.
But then it wasn't got approved actually. So how do you see this whole thing when you are going through this kind of journey, when you face an obstacle in them to become a trainer? So what do you think people should shift in their self actually?
Okay. All right. Let me just recap the story a little bit. When I went for train the trainer course as a participant to get the certification, I went through the process same like you guys did, 5 days, and of course during that session I needed to come up with a topic to do the final assessment. I chose a topic on how to use magic in presentation. By all means, I'm not a magician. I only know like 1 or 2 magic tricks, but I thought it would be something very interesting for my fellow friends to witness during the final assessment. And I took that topic with the intention of sharing what I know and how to make things a little bit interesting for my audience. But as I presented the topic to the trainer said that this will go horribly wrong. I still remember those exact words. So yes, it was some form of a rejection of an idea that I had clearly in my mind. So Of course, the first thing is how you react to that kind of rejection. There are many ways to react. You could react positively, you could react negatively. I choose to react in a way that I shift from negative to positive by saying that, okay, let me prove this. Let me prove this trainer wrong by not trying to screw it up. So what I did was I went back home, I practiced. Okay, just to share a little bit about the magic. The magic is where you transfer a coin from this hand into a cup. So you hold the cup here, you transfer it through the back. You close the mouth of the cup and you transfer from the back of the cup. How the magic works, okay, because I'm not a magician so I can share this, is you need to throw the coin and catch it with this hand and close back the cup. But it has to be done in a very fast manner. I actually broke like 2 glasses at home just trying to do that. Then I thought to myself, I'm not going to be able to do this properly. So what I did was I improvised the trick by using a dummy coin. So I had one on my hand and another coin. So I used the art of distraction. I distracted people's attention to one side, and then I slowly pick up the coin on this side, put my hand on the cup, and as I knock, I let the coin drop, and then I, hid away the other coin here. So what I learned from that particular incident and experience was, you need to improvise. And I'm sharing this with all of you guys out there. Sometimes in life, the path is not set in one particular way. There are many ways to come to a point. For example, as we are recording this podcast, it's my first time here basically. Very nice, cozy place. I never knew it was here. I'm not familiar with this part of KL. So as I wanted to leave my house, I would look at the map and I realized that even the map would show you different ways of getting to a destination. So it's up to you. And then I choose one path. And then as I was driving, I realized, hey, there's another path that I'm a bit familiar with, that the estimated time of arrival is the same. So I chose that path. So I think reflecting back on the story in terms of getting rejection, getting obstacle come in the way, as long as you have a clear sense of direction where you want to head, I think then it's just a matter of you improvising and you finding what's comfortable for you. Whether it takes a little bit more time or lesser time, I think it goes back to that same theme, which is your sense of direction.
Wow, that's so beautifully said. A sense of direction, actually. So, I mean, like if we notice our podcast as well, when we started our podcast, we didn't had this one thing and all. We just started without anything, and then we keep improvising. Now we are almost in episode 9, and
Very good.
And we are really happy to have you here.
And by the way, Dilip, 9 is my favorite number.
That's great to hear that. So that's synchronicities will happen when we are during our this kind of things. I mean, like we used to call it as the magic of universe. Sometimes the things will come to us, which without realizing it, but it becomes our ourself, right?
Yes.
So it's beautifully said, that sense of direction, right? So sense of direction is really important for us to even know where we are heading, or instead of we are getting lost in our life's regular problems, we needed to have a sense of direction in our life, right? So basically you have trained almost like 1,400 people to be trained the trainer, not like simply training them into any course. To be trained the trainer, 1,400 people, is a very impressive journey, right? So how did you set up this intention to become the trainer? So what was the inspiration for you to become this this kind of like this much of impact you are made in the world?
Right. Again, I'm very blessed because the path has been opened up for me to be able to come to this point. I think again, if I were to track back, I did not purposely wanted to become the trainer that conducts the certification course. It came out of necessity. But also behind all of that, I think there was a little bit of a drive to not let people go through the same experience that I did. Like I said, for the trainer to say a topic will go horribly wrong at a point where you are very passionate about a topic and you present that topic to the trainer and ask for the trainer's opinion, and that is the feedback that I got. Deep down inside, I think I didn't want other people to experience the same thing. I thought it was something that is not right for a trainer who conducts training of trainers to say that. And I think that was the starting point for me to look into how can I help others, how can I fix the wrongs of the industry within my own capacity. So as I progress in the field, it was not intentional to just do this, but along the way, everybody has their belief. I believe, as a Muslim, I believe that God has set certain path for me to take, and I think it's one of the things that I appreciate. This is my role, and I take it up. So that's where I think we come to the point where we train other trainers so that we get the level of quality out there. People like you, your topics, it is much needed out there. But if you don't go through the process, you don't get certified, you'll be restricted. Yeah, I mean the circle may be very limited. So allowing others to have opportunities through this platform. So I think that's one of the things that started off my intention to be on this path.
It's great to hear that. I mean, like, it's like your personal impact, and then you wanted to make it into a global impact. And when you are making this kind of impacts for other people who are kind of like nurturing them, right? So what would be the important elements you would tell them, right? Like, I mean, like, if there is a three things for the people to become a trainer, because training industry is something people don't really explore it. I mean, like, even for me, it took me some time to almost like 35 years old. That's when I know, there is this industry exists, right?
Yeah.
So what would you recommend for those people who's coming to this industry?
Okay, three things. Quite a bit of a challenge to compress into three main points, but I think number one would be coming back to that sense of direction. I think the first thing that we need to consider if you want to go into training is why would you like to train? There are many things. Could be number one, of course, everybody wants to have a good stream of income. Whether it's through business, through working, being employed, and so on and so forth, everybody wants that safety to have something that they can, to live their life, basically to earn a living. But behind that, you have to consider why, the big why. That's number one. Number two is your big why is something that is much needed by others. So if you're doing something that's much needed by others, okay, let's take this a step back and not just focus on training. If you're a good cook, I'm not even talking about chef, you're a good cook and you can make a good, let's say for example, nasi lemak. And if you think that this should not just be consumed by you and your family, you want other people to experience the beauty of your nasi lemak, the taste of your nasi lemak, then definitely opening up a stall would be the next best option. So I think with that in mind, if we want to share something, then training may be your first step. The intention of wanting to share and also probably earn an income out of it. So that's the first big why. And then number two would be to be able to identify the difference between your subject matter and also the expertise or the abilities in delivering training, because it's totally different skill set, Dilip. To be able to know your subject versus to be able to let other people understand and comprehend that subject is two different skill sets. So I think to be able to realize that is number 2. And the third one is have a bigger intention than just what's next. For example, I started off in the industry being employed as a trainer, as an employee with a training provider company. And then I left that company to venture training as a freelance trainer. And then being a freelance trainer, I realized it cannot just be like this. So I established Access Ideas Malaysia as a training provider company. And not just that, I think I wanted to ensure that the industry performs better. So that's where we went to train the trainer. And even as we speak, we are moving towards ensuring that our outreach is bigger by associating good trainers. I mean, we have trained 1,000 over people. Of course, good people like you, yourself, and some of the others. If there is an opportunity to collaborate, we would put them forward instead of me forward as the trainer for their topics. So those are the things that we do. So I think if we were to circle back to the top 3, understand your big why, understand that skill sets is 2 different things, and then I think seeing the bigger picture and not just being selfish. Okay, selfish is a very negative word, but not just think about yourself, but think about how you can contribute back. That would be the top 3, I think.
Wow, that's beautifully said. It's kind of like saying about like understanding your why and understanding your skills and also seeing the bigger picture of contribution, right? It's very, very beautifully said. So this brings back to the point of like, this is a very new idea, right?
Okay.
And also your name called Idea Sensei. that inspired me a lot because it's kind of like ideas are something which is free sometimes.
True.
And many people can give. But then you are kind of like a Idea Sensei where make it also tangible and make it also competency level. So how did you get inspired to bring this word called Idea Sensei?
Okay, all right. This is something that I learned of other people. When you want to position yourself in this industry, you need to have a good personal branding or brand positioning as a trainer. So coming back to the point where I studied in Japan and I used to teach Japanese language. So the word sensei became, sensei by the way means teacher. So people keep calling you sensei in class. So it became like a nickname that I'm very fond of because it's when somebody calls you a teacher, you feel that weight of being the teacher, or a coach, you feel that weight. But because it's Japanese, it kind of gets me back to when I studied and that respect of the teacher, that sensei figure. I had a few good senseis throughout my life, very blessed. So I considered to take up that name because, again, people commonly refer to me as sensei because I teach Japanese language. The word idea comes from actually the company name. If you notice, the company name is Access Ideas. So the word basically is telling people that I'm the teacher in the company called Access Ideas. That's where the Idea Sensei comes from. But people interpret it differently, and I'm very happy that people gave me ideas now because of the name. Because people say that, I help people generate idea, I share ideas. Like you said, ideas are free. Unlike commodities like apples and drinks, you have one, I have one. If you give me yours, you have none. But ideas is something that I can give it to you. I still have my idea. You can take my idea. You can do something with it. I can do something with it. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective, and I did a little bit of background check, and I noticed that nobody else uses the term sensei and idea together.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it gives you a very unique search engine marketing as well.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And also, I do watch Japanese anime actually, so sensei is very close to me as well. So that's very, very, very close words to me actually, because I watch when you watch anime, it has a lot of
Exactly.
emotion towards that sensei word, right? Even though if it's English, they will still
Exactly.
use sensei word
Exactly.
actually. So
Exactly.
it's a beautiful thing to know about it, right? And you have spoken about like this is a very important element of manifestation as well. So you have spoken about like subject matter expert is one thing, and then delivering is it's a different thing, right? So I think these days people are struggling in their jobs as well as in businesses. They might have a subject matter expert,
Yeah.
but then delivery is a totally different thing, which is like it's a journey of delivery
Yes.
relates to adult learning journey of thing, right?
Yes.
So what is the blocks you think people will face if they don't understand these two distinguished difference? Because I do see a lot of blocks actually for the people.
Okay. I think one of the obstacles that people will face if they don't realize this is, number one, how you learn and how other people learn is different. So if you make an assumption, you not as you Dilip, but
Yeah.
everyone else out there,
No, I did assumptions before.
when we make an assumption that the best way to learn is how we learn, then I think that is the first and foremost biggest obstacle, because you would think that the best way is there's only one way. Coming back to that story earlier on when I talk about uh, sense of direction. I came across this quote. I'm not sure what is the source, because sometimes people say it's from Michael J. Fox. Sometimes people say it's from other people. If this quote talks about learning, it said, if you teach, you should teach based on how the student is learning, not based on how you want them to learn. Along that line. So if they don't realize that subject matter expertise versus competency of delivery is two separate things, then that's where they will get stuck in order to move forward as a trainer. So I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, I mean, like in the business as well, I do see this. I mean, like we do see it in a business aspect. Basically, subject matter expert knows about what is subject matter,
Exactly.
and there is a delivery comes to the customer's journey, right?
Correct.
So if you don't align this both, sometimes we might be
Yeah,
creating a
yeah.
product or service which is not required by the customer, but
Exactly.
you will try to instill your idea into
Exactly,
the people,
exactly.
and eventually beginning stage there will be like a lot of people, your close circle will be there, but eventually the product is going to die or the service is going to die.
True.
Right?
Exactly, because we have the tendency to think that there's only one way. There's only one approach, and this is where I think it also spreads out to the point where there can be many of the same subject matter expert, but the delivery is going to be different because you are unique to yourself. Let's say, for example, like me conducting the train the trainer course. There are also other training providers that run courses, and some are way longer than me in the industry. They have much more experience, and I have no sense of competition with them, because I feel that if it's meant to be that you come through my class, then you will gain from what I have. If you go to another trainer's class, you will gain through what his delivery style is, what his past experience is. So I think again, there's no sense of competition in that way. You can have many of the same experts, but your delivery is going to be different. Similar like how you cook. Everybody can cook curry, but why this curry is better than this curry, and why your mom's curry is always the best one, you know? I always see it like that. The recipe can be the same, the content, the subject matter can be the same, but how you mix the ingredients and how you cook, how long you simmer the gravy and whatnot would make it totally different.
Yes. So that's a very important essence also for the manifestation, where you needed to make sure that your recipe is your own recipe, and then also your recipe can only resonate with you. If you are going and cooking someone else's recipe, and then why is it not coming up? Because it's not resonating with your heart, right? So it's kind of like you are only doing it through your mind, and you're not resonating with your heart, which is not going to be reciprocated then around the people, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's beautifully said. And also there's one more important gratitude I have as well. So where you have, I mean, like, because I am coming from a background of I'm not a bookworm, right? I'm more of like experiential learner. I don't really kind of like sit and read longer, but then I can if I know the concept, I will go and execute, and then I will learn through my experience. And then once upon a time, I mean, like, not once upon a time, in 4 years ago when I got stuck, because there's so much I wanted to learn, because after I went through my anxiety and depression period, I wanted to learn so much, because I feel like I'm not really good at my subject matter expert and stuff, right? So when I faced those kind of insecurities, I came to you, and then I asked only one thing to you, because you have a lot of knowledge and you have done like almost like 138 programs for people, right? So then I asked you, what is the simplest way of learning? And then you give me one simple idea about like go and learn about frameworks, Dilip, and then keep the frameworks in you, not the detailed content. Of course, when you needed the detailed content, you can go and look at it, but the frameworks are very important. That really shifted my entire life, actually. Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't remember that part. Okay. Now, I think when I mentioned about framework, track back my experience, Dilip. When I went to Japan, the subject that I took was on engineering. So I've been trained by the Japanese to think of something as an engineering process. So I think that's where the framework idea, or the framework thought process came into my mind. Because for me to learn, and for me, I'm also like you, I'm not really much of a reader. I only read when I need to, and I only read what I need to read, because I have difficulties when I read a book. My mind starts to wander off and start to think, so I could never finish a full book. But I think when I capture the essence like you, I get to move forward. But what helped me a lot through my training as an engineer from the Japanese is that the thought process. The process is very important, and once you can replicate, we can call it formula, we can call it framework, we can call it model, concept. But once you figure that out, you as like any engineer, you need to prototype and test. That's a bit of design thinking. So you try something out, you give it a shot, you get feedback from people. People say, hey, I don't quite understand this. So you go back and to the drawing block and see how or why did this person not understand it. Then you refine, you improvise, you make it a bit better. So next time you check back. So once you go through this cycle for a few times, you will get an idea of, okay, this is probably the winning formula. This is probably the secret recipe. This is probably the framework. And once you roll that out, I think as a trainer, it's easier for people to understand. When you work with your clients, the clients could grasp the overview of your thought process. I think that's very important. Maybe I'm a bit lucky and very blessed because I had that opportunity.
Interesting. Because the more I'm digging in these kind of topics, go and end up into, because I'm an agile coach, right? So we are going back to Japan. Actually, everything comes from Kaizen. Everything coming from the Kaizen, and then it's all evolving into different language, like you said, like model, framework, or formula.
Yeah, exactly.
But what you guys needed to understand when it comes to manifestation is like, you can build your own formula, you can build your own model, because that model is going to be really powerful for your life. And also, like Sensei mentioned about like your big why. So why would you like to contribute? Why would you like to give it to others? So that why is very important, and that is going to contribute back as a framework for you. So once you build that framework, then that's going to be a recipe for your life, and also it's going to help others as well, right?
Very true. Very true.
And thank you so much for that. Actually, it's really helpful for me. Actually, so right now my I mean, like I do have my idea board, I have mural board. It is full of framework. And then when I even show it to Mangala will be like, why, how you remember all these things? I said like, no, you know what, because you just need to put these things.
Correct,
And now we
correct.
started. That's how even our manifestation theory, I mean, like this podcast and manifestation even came up with that idea. Actually, we
very
put all
good.
our frameworks together, and then we see, you know what is a common thing which is impacting all this. It's the energy of manifestation, where we needed to visualize. If we don't visualize, then we end up going
True.
into the direction, as you said, like we will go into a different directions in our life,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly. So I think another circling back to probably the theme of today's conversation would be that sense of direction. I think is very crucial, and there's two parts in that phrase, sense of direction. First is the direction, of course, your goals, your vision, your mission. Um, in this past couple of weeks, I've been talking a lot about the Japanese concept of ikigai, if you're familiar with that. Trying to give a different perspective, because a lot of interpretation on ikigai is from the Western world. So I looked at it from our Asian culture, being the closest to Japanese as Asian. I realized that there are certain things that we could learn from a different perspective of ikigai. So I think that resonates very well with today's podcast, the session, which is the direction part. But the sense part, you asked a few questions about learning. I think one of the ways to learn and to learn best is by enhancing your senses, and this is one of the things. I had a conversation with my son during the drive here. It's about being alert of what's happening around you, what's happening to you, what's happening within you, and what's happening between your thought process, your actions, and whatnot. So if you can enhance and be more sensitive to those senses, then I think it's going to be a very interesting learning journey, learning process.
Oh yeah, I mean, like this we used to call it as a 4 levels of consciousness. It's kind of like who are you, and then what is that you're trying to manifest, and then what is that you're going to give back to others as a channel.
Correct,
And then in the end it's all one, right? So it's a beautifully said, actually. And I'm glad that that kind of conversation also I used to have with my son as well. So it does elevate their sense of self, actually. So thanks for the theme, actually, sense of direction from Idea Sensei. so the sense is very important, not only in the learning and even in the manifestation, because if you can't visualize, or if you can't really feel it in your body, or if you can't, like you said, like the magic, if you can't understand that how people will feel, then your magic will not be successful.
Exactly.
So the sense is very, very important in any of our life, because if we don't have a sense, then we become like the machines, right?
True. There's a lot of people out there. Again, it's just my observation, and partly it's my assumption. People go through life right now being numb. They don't feel, they don't experience. They just go through the process of waking up, going to work, doing the job, coming back, having dinner, that cycle, vicious cycle. So if we make ourselves numb to the senses of what's happening around us, there's a lot of wasted opportunities. Even a conversation like right now, I think a lot of people realize podcast is booming because people like conversations. They tend to say that the current generations, they don't like to talk, they like to text. Everything is all on the phone, texting. Don't call me, text me. you get that kind of message, right? But then you realize people are listening to podcasts. So I think you cannot run away from being human, in the sense that humans are social beings. We figure out a lot of things as we converse, we talk. Sometimes even by talking to yourself, you will be able to resolve certain problems that you face. So I think in a way, one of my I won't say advice, but one of my invitations to people who are watching this and listening to this podcast. Don't be aware that you should not become numb. Don't just live your routine life. Have something to look forward to. It could be like the Japanese concept of ikigai. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something small, like maybe this weekend there's a football match that you want to watch. So that should allow you to have a little bit of energy to carry on throughout the week. Maybe there's a new restaurant that opened up that you want to try. Those are the small things that could help you overcome your numbness of life, build a little bit of your senses. And if that direction is angled towards learning, then you will grow and improve along the way.
So this goes back to the question of people are actually numbing themselves. And they are becoming like a lifelong learners, which means like you're only feeding information to your brain, but then you're not utilizing it. Like it's kind of like the delivery part you have mentioned, right? So what I see is people are becoming very, very lifelong learner.
Okay.
But then they don't have a learning path, which is the sense of direction,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So why do you think it's happening? And then what is this? I mean, like, because you would have seen a lot of people in your whole thing, because I do see it's a very big challenge going to happen in their entire life's journey, because they don't feel enough of what they have, what do they learn, and also they're not utilizing it, or they're not really feeling it.
Correct. Okay, I pick up a very important word that you mentioned just now. They don't feel enough. Okay, one of the things I learned from my late grandfather, a very wise man. He lived up until 95 years old. In fact, I think I spend more time with him than my late father, because my late father passed away at a very young age. So I always go back to my grandfather to have conversations with him, just to touch back in terms of what's their thought process and whatnot. So my late grandfather taught me this very important lesson, which is don't ask for more, ask for enough. Because once you ask for more, you will never feel enough. So that to me was like a very huge aha moment. So now let's talk about that lifelong learner who keeps going and consuming information, consuming lessons and whatnot. That's another thing that we need to be mindful of. That's why I mentioned senses is very important. We do not actually spend much time to develop our senses because people are not so in tune or not aware that this is something that should be developed. Give you a simple journey of a very typical person. As they grow up, their senses or what they experience around them is normally influenced by parents. Now, parents comes from a very positive perspective, which is love. They love you, they care for you, they want you to have a good life. So they define what success is. So you live life with that definition. Then you go to school. Now, school is where things get shifted a bit. Yes, the teachers love you, but they are also playing their role as a teacher. They're basically going through their responsibility. Now, the school itself is an organization. Of course, schools focus on education, but as you continue your education, then you go into colleges, universities, and some of these places, I'm not saying all, but some of these places are very profit-driven. So this is your first encounter with, this business definition of success. So in their mind, to be successful, you need to be like this, like this, like this. And then as you experience life again through your senses, but most of our senses is being bombarded by media. So media is totally business. They want you to consume more. They give you a lot of information, advertising. You drive anywhere, you see billboards, posters and whatnot. So you accidentally create this sense of success that is defined by them because they want you to consume. So that is a very huge thing. And if we are not clear in terms of our senses and we do not define our own direction, there's a tendency that you live life following other people's. Then you become, circling back to your question, you become seminar junkie. You go to seminars just for the thrill of the seminar, not to capture the knowledge and bring back that to apply. Because the real purpose of going to seminars, training and whatnot is to go back and apply. But because you forget the application, you tend to go with the thrill of the chase. And that is something that the business wants you to consume, which is the feeling that it's not enough, you want more. Actually, there's a lot you already gained, but you never tried to apply. I'm not saying you, as in I'm generally speaking. We don't tend to apply everything, so we always feel that it's not enough. So to have that mindset, don't ask for more. Ask for enough is I think is very very important, very crucial.
Yeah, beautifully said. I mean, like I was once upon a time, I was a
Seminar junkie.
junkie actually, because once I got broke down, I wanted to learn more and
Exactly.
want to improve. I
It's
just go and
very-
consume so much of junkie,
Yeah.
and it's beautifully. Sometimes these things will make us wondering, right? Because we used to call it as a spiritual junkie. So
Understand.
when you want to manifestation, you don't know. I mean, like it's a beautifully your grandfather's insight came flow through you, which is like, don't ask for more, ask for enough actually. So
Yeah.
this is the same thing we used to ask our students as well. If you ask for more, tell us what is enough for you, because we don't really define what is enough for
Exactly.
us actually.
Exactly.
Right? And then we become a junkie to
Exactly.
gather all the junks of
Exactly.
information, this thinking that we are learning and growing, but then it's not really you are learning and growing. Instead of that, you are devaluing your
Correct.
competencies.
And then you keep pressuring yourself to churn out more new things, and then you feel like, oh, I need to achieve more, and then you're pushing yourself more, and at the end of the day you start to stress yourself out. You feel like, pressuring yourself, and then you end up being not happy. Sometimes, happiness is very subjective. But if you, again, coming back to the point where if you highlight your senses and you know that, oh, I'm happy enough that I get to drink this water. I'm happy enough that I get to meet you today. So that's fulfillment. And that fulfillment should be enough for that part.
Yeah, because I mean, like sometimes when you meet those kind of fulfilled people in your life, you will feel the sense of fulfillment as well. Because I did felt that with you, because when I first meet you, I really see you are grounded. It's not like you are trying to prove to me that you know everything. No, you are keep on coming to me and then asking for me like a giving me, like you're asking me interesting questions. So which is about my interest and about what is that I'm doing. So that comes from a place of sense of fulfillment actually, because
Okay.
if you have a sense of fulfillment, that's when you will be able to sense others how much fulfillment they have. If not, we will not.
I did not realize that. Thank you for highlighting that.
I did my reflection. I did went back and then I
Thank
did
you,
my
thank you,
reflection. I mean,
thank
like after sometimes when I was growing in my life, I mean, like we do have a wall of love in our home. We put all the people's pictures so that we have that sense to recognize what is that we have learned through them. It's not like people always, if people leave, people always think that this person left, or this kind of painful stories. Rather, if you make it into a happiness, if you make it into the gratitude, it just brings a lot of sense of fulfillment actually.
Okay, that's interesting. That's something that I learned today.
Yeah.
Right.
So this goes back to the point, right, where people in the competitive world, this is very, very competition in this world, right? So for this, why do you think competency is so important? And how do we nurture our competency actually?
Okay. Let's put this into a very simple perspective of a normal human goes through this world. Of course, having to always be learning. For example, when we come to this world as a baby, we cannot speak. so we learn how to speak. We cannot walk, we learn how to walk, and so on and so forth. So competencies, in my definition of competency, there's three areas you look at: knowledge, skills, and behavior. Sometimes we have sufficient knowledge, enough knowledge to carry on our life. We have good level of skills. Now, you won't become professional. Let's say, for example, you like to play football. You can play football. You're happy playing football. It's good. But not everybody has to be Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. You don't have to play at that level unless that is your passion lah. But so there is also skill element. There's certain abilities that you need to be able to do for you to carry on life, and that's good enough. Because we also have community. We have people, even like this podcast, for example. We are the ones that's having this conversation here, but behind the camera, we have experts doing their role, and together we can produce something beautiful like this podcast. So I think if we look at it from that perspective, then competency development to a certain extent becomes very crucial. And the third element of competency that I often talk about is not attitude, but more towards behavior. Because now, knowing things, being able to do things, and understanding that we live in a community, there is certain ways where we need to interact with one another. That behavior part becomes very crucial. So sometimes when we talk about competency, it's at this point of time, it's no longer about knowledge and skills, and not just knowledge and skills, but the focus should be on competency. Competency area of behavior, because there's a lot that we can improve on in terms of our behavior towards each other, towards ourselves, and towards those people that we are responsible for around us. So I think coming back to your question, if you ask about competency, why is it important? I think there's behavior part of competency is something that we need to give a little bit more attention to, rather than just knowledge and skill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's deep actually, because because your behavior is consists of your limiting beliefs, and then your whatever you had been through in your life. Because that behavior, sometimes that behavior also will come from your familiarized emotions, which is like memorized emotions, and then your behavior comes into play. Even though you know a lot of knowledge, and even though you know a lot of skill, but then again it goes back to the delivery point, right? They don't know how to deliver. Then end up you will be lowering in yourself in the market.
Correct.
So I think that goes back to the point of like you guys need to know how to market yourself and deliver yourself, and that's one of the reasons the training is so important as well, right?
Yeah.
So this brings back to the question is that you have almost like impacted 138 programs, and then almost like 1,400 trained trainers, and also what do you call it? I forgot the number. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about the number.
Okay, so not worry about number. Okay, so all these things you have done in your life, right? So what would you like to share those young talents who wants to manifest to become a trainer, right? So what are the 3 key aspects they need to improve in their life? I mean, as you spoke about behavior, because it's in the life behavior, because it's not about the knowledge and skill, but what are the 3 important behavior or the life they needed to improve actually?
If they want to become a trainer, one of the few things that I think is very important is that relook at what is it that you enjoy doing. What is it that you enjoy doing? And let's say, for example, because I give you an example of most of my participants come for trainer. They have in their mind what area of training they know and they think they are good at. But again, when we have conversations like during breaks and whatnot, I like to ask the questions, besides your day-to-day job, what is it that you like to talk about? So then we realize that there's many things. Some people, they like to travel. Some people, they they like to do crafts and whatnot besides their work. I've seen a lot of technical people who enjoy other things, riding bicycles and whatnot, and they sometimes they talk about that during the final assessment of TTT, and they deliver very well because that's their passion. So I think it goes back to reflecting what is it that you like, what is your passion, and also this is very important for a lot of trainers out there. Be mindful of transferable skills. I'm lucky and I'm very blessed because I realized that earlier on, shifting from working in a Japanese company going into the training industry, which I did not only change my job and my company, I actually changed the field of work from technical to something that's soft skills, something that like training, teaching others. One of the things I realized was I need to identify transferable skills, and these transferable skills could make a huge difference for you as a trainer. We mentioned just now, different people, same subject matter expertise, delivery is different because what you find interesting, like you did agile. So what you find interesting in agile that can be adapted in coaching, for example, in what you do now, talking about manifestation and so on. So like for me, identifying frameworks, identifying formula. So those are the things that as a trainer, you may want to look at, the transferable skills. And maybe one more thing is, I know this is very difficult, but try not just to think short term in terms of monetary. Manage your lifestyle to be able to, because if you're going to make this journey, I think Dilip, you can agree on this. To be able to go out there and run training programs is not easy. Yes, you mentioned the numbers, 130 over courses conducted and whatnot. But again, to get, like right now, we are very grateful that our classes are full, but it only happened like I think 6-7 years later. So you need to have that tenacity, that perseverance, and that can only happen if you don't think about money. You're not desperate about money, because once you're desperate about money, then everything else you put aside because it's survival mode. So you don't want to stay on that survival mode. You want to stay in the mode where you can be calm, composed, relaxed, because you want to deliver training, you want to impart. If not, it will always come back to haunt you as you deliver. Everything is like urgent. Everything is like pushing it. So be mindful of those things. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you tips in terms of technical trainer tips, but I think the fundamentals behind it, these are the few key things that's important, because there's so many people out there who enter the training market without this preparation. They face challenges, they step back and they decided that training is not for them. But in actual fact, maybe it's just a few more steps further. You just need to have that perseverance a little bit. There's so many people out there who tend to give up. Very talented people. So look at it from a helicopter view, long term instead of just short term. That's something that I think
amazingly said, actually, because we also wanted to not give a conventional things, because there is so much out there in YouTube and so much out there. If you wanted to learn, you can always go and learn, but coming from that experience, which is like experience and knowledge, which becomes a wisdom, right? So it's so beautifully said, like enjoy what you love to do, and then have identify your what is the transferable skills, and also have a long-term vision about your lifestyle. It brings back, guys, we didn't even converse about this because as you guys know about our videos, we always talk about lifestyle. Manifestation is about lifestyle. It's not about just thinking short term and thinking like this is what I want. No, it's about your long term vision, your goal, whatever that you have now. it also leads back to your long-term life vision, which is what is your lifestyle is going to be, right? So it's beautifully said. Basically, that's what our coaching we used to tell, that it's a manifestation is about lifestyle.
So we're in tune.
yes. So this is so, I mean, like this sometimes makes us feel like, you know what, as you said, like this makes us, give us the energy also to do that, because we did bring Dr. Ashokan, we did bring corporate trainers, we have bring in, and now we bring you as an Idea Sensei as well. So it's amazing to see all of you has that centered, grounded energy to show that it's a long-term thing. It's not like you see it as a short-term. It's a perseverance they had been through, and that is what made them to become that grounded energy of giving back and contributing back to the world. It's beautifully seen. And we would like to ask you, so what is that contribution and impact Access Ideas wanted to make in the world?
Okay, our tagline is make training accessible. And I have a story behind it, if you don't mind, I share this story a bit. When I first started working, there was this one time where I wanted to learn formal learning, not informal learning. Of course, you can learn during work, but formal learning from my Japanese boss. And if you know Japanese people, they don't teach voluntarily, because in Japanese, there's this one saying that you learn from the back of your senior. They don't teach you up front. You have to learn the secret of the trade by observing and watching your senior. So that is a cultural thing. So when my Japanese boss wanted to conduct a class, so I was very excited because I know that this is something that doesn't happen frequently. So I asked my supervisor. My supervisor said, your name is not in the list. I said, can I? Because I really want to learn this subject. He said, okay, let me talk to some people and see if you can come. And then my supervisor actually told me, yeah, you can come for the session. So I went into the session. And as you know, Japanese are very precise. So they give notes in the class. And he realized that, hey, the notes is not enough. But there's still people in there. So the Japanese boss turned around to the coordinator and asked, how come not enough notes? And then the coordinator stood up and looked me directly in the eyes and said, somebody is not supposed to be here. So I was asked to leave the classroom. So I felt really bad, and I thought to myself, oh, is training something that is only for certain group of people? Is it luxury? Is it not meant to be for everyone? Isn't knowledge supposed to be shared? So that was playing in my mind. I stood up, and as I was trying to walk out of the room, my Japanese boss said, never mind, since you are here, just sit. But of course, I did not manage to remember all of the lessons because my emotion was like really not stable at that point of time. I was thinking about, because you're embarrassed, you're being pointed out in the crowd. So that somehow or rather stuck in my mind. And when I went into training and when I started my own company, we were thinking about what would be our mission statement. What would be something that's big enough that we want to do, and we want to gain the support of others. And then I remembered that, and I said, let's make training accessible. So I threw that thought to certain people. Some people say it sounds like you're focusing on the less privileged people, the physically disabled people. I said, yeah, if you see it that way, by all means. But that's the thing. People don't have access to good quality training. That's my mission. And when I talk about that, I tend to get people to support me, because people who are like-minded, like you and some of the other friends out there, they say, yeah, I also want to help you make training accessible, because I see, they always say that they see the passion in me and whatnot. I say, yeah, very, very thankful. I'm very happy for that. But let's together do this, because I cannot do it alone. I need a group of people to not only support, but within your own capacity, within your own subject area, you make training accessible. Doing this podcast is making training accessible. So I think one of the things that we always strive to do is to get it out there, to present it and make it accessible. For your information, Train the Trainer, among all of those classes we did, we have ventured outside of KL. We have done Train the Trainer session 5 days in Kuantan with only 3 participants. We have done in Miri, Sarawak with only 5 participants. We have conducted classes, plenty of classes that if you calculate the amount of cost to take the hotel, I mean, remember we did it in a hotel. We did not break even. But the thing I mentioned just now, long-term vision, overview, I said never mind, because we are not here for the short term. Training is a marathon. The business is a long-term business, because you do not want to open a business and then 3 years down the line people knock on your door and say, hey, you're no longer around. So you want to be here for at least a good couple of decades at least. So with this impact, the question on impact that we want to create is we want to make sure that people out there have access to good quality training. And how do we do that? Training trainers. Yes, we go volume. Right now, 1,000 over trainers train. Through that volume, we get to see good quality trainers, good quality people, I would say. And then now we're moving into making sure that the training content, with all my framework and whatnot, the training content we produce through the company. We have our own secret sauce. Let's say, for example, if you as the trainer, you talk about manifestation through our Access Ideas training provider, we will help you to make sure that your training materials are all at a certain level of quality, because now we are able to do that. And the third element we are looking at is training venue. As I come here recording this podcast, I'm looking at it. I said, oh, this is very interesting setup. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this is coincident or what, manifestation, giving me some thoughts and idea on, doing this platform, giving this channel so that the message, the lesson, the knowledge can be put out there for people to have access to. Maybe, don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
That's great. That's Idea Sensei, guys, and he always come up with his ideas and he make it tangible and he make it into reality and he manifests them things into reality, and it does make me feel emotional as well. That part of the whole story, and I'm really happy that that story made you to bring back the impact. I mean, it's the same kind of impact I'm going through in my life, where when I'm stuck in my manifestation journey, I realize that I needed help, and there are coaches who helped me in that, and that's what I mean, like one of you as well in that journey, and which made me to come up with it. People always tend to mistake the training or the growth into disabilities because not many people understand training or coaching or anything is not only for those people who has a problem or disability. True. It is to elevate your competency, guys. Exactly. I mean, remember that, because it's not whenever we tend to we do coach people, they always think that, you know what, you should go to students to teach, kids to teach. I say like, kids doesn't need manifestation. You guys need to understand they're always the manifester, right? Yes, so exactly. What we need to understand is that we need to understand it is to elevate yourself. It is to bring you to the next step. Wherever you are improving your competency, you are improving your life. True. So that is what the training and coaching, all aspects are needed in our life, isn't it?
And I think on the last note from my side, let's not argue about terms. Let's not argue which one is better, trainer, coach, sensei, sifu, teacher. Every of these names have a role, and that role is more important than which one is better, because a student needs a teacher, a college student needs a lecturer, a working adult may require a coach, a company may require a trainer, internal, external. So there's no one person better than the other. It's all about, as a community together, we want to improve the world around us. It's again, like I said, it's not about just you and your life. It's about how you interact with other people, how you together want to improve the whole society, and maybe as a whole planet, we all elevate our life to become better, while not forgetting about other people who are underprivileged, or the people who don't have the resources and luxury. So let's put that perspective into mind, and let's stop the petty arguments of which one is which. If you can help touch lives and improve people through coaching, that's good. I can do it through training. I'm happy. I'm blessed. The platform itself, the KL podcast studio, they do it through providing this platform. So we all live in a very harmonious society. Everybody has their own roles, and I think that is most important.
Yeah, so that is most important. As an ecosystem, we manifest our dreams, and we can connect our dreams and grow together. And thank you so much, Sensei, for joining our podcast. And I would like to give a closing note, which is more of like, guys, I mean, like, it's a very, very deep conversation, and Idea Sensei brought a lot of sense to my life as well, and to all of you guys also through this podcast. I mean, like, you should have a sense of direction, sense of self, sense of fulfillment, and sense of success, and that is going to manifest your dream life, whatever that you're trying to manifest in your life. And thank you so much for listening to us, guys.
Thank you, Dilip, for having me. It was a pleasure. Like I said, I'm very proud as your sensei to see your progress. I'm very happy and honored to be here as your guest. And I think let's continue our journey. Maybe different path, but if our path come across in the future, let's move forward, and together let's make training accessible.
Thank you so much, Sensei.